Another triple digit favorite takes home the Nick, I can't believe it, 250 to 1. We've now yet to have a winner less than 125 to 1, I believe. So we're here to break down the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. I am AD Lang from wagertalk.com, being joined as always by Nick Borman. Nick, what are we doing here? Are we just looking at long shots? What's going on with some of these bigger name guys and these pretty short favorites? They're not coming through. Last week, none of them were even close. A lot of them even missed the cut. Is this just an anomaly, or is this life on the PGA Tour now?
It's short sample size, right? I want to believe it's the former, and it's just an anomaly, and we'll hopefully get back to a little bit of normalcy as far as outright winners, But listen, I guess the good news is for anybody that's hit one of them, you probably already made your year. I have not hit any yet because I have not been any of those guys, but I think if this continues, I'm going to have to re-look at not only my golf betting, but my whole life. It's just very confusing.
Well, welcome everyone to Tea Time. We're here to break down the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, and nothing says getting back to normal like an event that features amateurs, only 80 golfers, multiple courses, and rain. So this should make it easy to get back on track. We're going to give you a look at some outright winners. We're going to look at the course. We're going to go over some Draftkings Darlings, some players to trip you up, in a finishing position, as well as betting notes, get you ready. But first, please, guys, hit the like button. It really helps us out, helps the algorithm, and lets us know that we're doing a good job for you. And leave us a comment. Tell us what your best bet is. This is going to be a wild week of golf for sure out at Pebble Beach. So leave us a comment. Tell us who you like, who you don't like this week. And we always love reading your comments and seeing what everyone is on. So let's take a look here at the Pebble Beach courses. They're going to play two of them. And Nick, I think these courses are fairly similar. You've got wide fairways. You've got it's short, way shorter than last week. We come from one of the longest courses that they're going to play all year. I think the longest to a course that's going to be 800 yards shorter. You look at Spyglass, 5 par fours around 410 yards or shorter, 4 par fives. Couple water hazards. In normal conditions, these guys would go pretty low on this course, but I don't think the weather is going to cooperate with us. So the average score, I don't know, maybe the average score is -1, maybe -2. And then we get to Pebble Beach, one of the most iconic, beautiful courses. It's scoreable normally, but again, the weather makes this an unknown as to what we're going to get. Fairways are very wide. I mean, some of them you could park a boat and a trailer sideways in these fairways. Um, it's going to be wet. Now, the good news is the wind doesn't look like it's going to be a factor till Sunday. And even if it does have an effect, it looks like it's not going to be till late on Sunday. I'm going to go with an average score of maybe -2 this week, depending on how the rain cooperates. So it's a beautiful course. The greens can be a little bit tricky to putt on if you're not used to them. And in this field, we've got a lot of players that have not played here a whole lot. So before we get into the field real quick, if we could bring up that slide of the weather, the worst weather of the week is going to be on Wednesday. And Nick, on social media, they already showed video. It's wet already out there.
Yeah.
Make no mistake, the grass is already soaked. So Wednesday, you're going to get more rain. Thursday looks like you're going to have some rain. Friday is going to be rain. Saturday may be the best day, and we're still going to have a little bit of rain. And then Sunday is, at this point, it's definitely going to rain there. So I guess you take a look at this course, and how much do we take into effect the rain and the weather conditions we're going to see this week?
It's hard to handicap that. I mean, the biggest challenge for people is, they're going to shuffle, right? They're going to have to do things. Maybe they're going to split some tees to try to get the rounds in quicker. And you never know about delays. As soon as you get a heavy downpour and water starts to saturate, if the course is already wet, it doesn't take a lot more water to get standing water on some of the greens and make them unplayable. So it's going to be difficult, and it's very hard to handicap delays and changes of tee times. It's honestly nearly one of the most possible things to do when it comes to golf betting. I'll be very surprised, honestly, if we do finish this on Sunday. Although, granted, it is only 80 players, as you said earlier, Andy. Last year, it did finish on Monday, but that was 156 players. So maybe they'll have a chance, but it's very difficult. It's I don't even see an advantage anything as far as like a tee time split goes either, because Thursday and Friday look about the same, and then the weekend is just you're teeing off based on where you stand. So as it gets worse and later in the day, well, those are the leaders, so it's hard to fade them at that point. So it's tough. I don't know how to handicap it as far as weather goes. I know it's going to be a factor for sure, and it's going to be cold too. So I could say one thing: it's going to be miserable for the players, the fans, the caddies. So, but I guess they're going to pay some money, so hopefully they'll find their way to get through it.
Yeah, it's an elevated event. You got Rory McIlroy playing, you got Scottie Scheffler playing, and like Nick and I were talking about, it just feels like some of these big names don't really care about some of the other tournaments, but when the big purses come in, all of a sudden the leaderboard is filled with the big name guys. So maybe this is the week where they come through. What's your thoughts, Nick, when we have a tournament like this? I know one of the narratives is, well, look at those European players. They grew up playing in it, or they're used to playing it. Do you buy into that at all? That the European players may have a little bit of an advantage with the weather conditions this week?
Um, it probably depends on the course as well. Playing in certain conditions, and you go over to the Open Championship, for example, and you're playing on a link style that they're used to playing, and the ball's meant to be played low and roll. Well, then they probably have a little bit of advantage. But in a course that it's not really meant to be played low and roll, I don't see that as being a huge advantage. Pebble's not a course that you are gonna, have roll the ball around the track, especially with a lot of carries and hazards coming into play. So for that reason, I don't really. But if it was a different style course, I might argue that there's an advantage to being used to that.
Yeah, you're not trying to bump and run the ball from the fairway up into the green at Pebble Beach. You got to fly the
No.
ball in there. So greens aren't huge, so hopefully they'll be able to throw darts and a hot putter. Maybe we get some guys that put some low rounds. So, but you get excited. Aaron Rodgers is playing as part of the amateur. Tom Brady's playing in some of those. So the PGA just cannot help themselves. They're just bleeding players over to live, and nothing says grow the game like having amateurs and other athletes play the sport. So I was kind of thinking about this, like Nick. There's no other sport like that does this. Like, can you imagine in like week 8 of the NFL if they were like, hey, it's Pro-Am week, so we're going to have like Jordan Spieth play left tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs. That'll be fun for the fans and fun for the players. I think they should do Pro-Ams in every sport. So, all right. Well, that's the course. Those are the weather conditions. So let's get into our total strokes gained chart. This is where Nick takes a look at who's playing good and who's on the right trend for moving up, moving down. And there's a lot of green there. So we got a lot of guys who are playing well over the last 12 months and over the last 3 months. So go ahead and explain the chart and who we like this week.
Yeah, as always, I always mention this is where I start my outright betting. Of course, so far in 4 events this year, you can pretty much just throw this graphic right out the window because it has no effect on the actual outright winner, 0 for 4. But long term, you can see the results. 50 of 91 tour winners since the start of 22 have been in this top 10 over the previous 12 months. So it does have a long-term probability that's going to help predict the winner of the event. So, and being a signature event, I really, really believe that the 100 to 1 or higher long shot winners streak will end this week, but who knows? It's the who's who of who's in the tournament. It's generally the top of the odds board, as we're seeing. You can kind of find a couple outliers in here. You got Russell Henley, who's in the top 10 over the last 12 months. 66 to 1 at a certain book, 55 to 1 at some other. So very good prices when you compare them to some of the other guys shorter in this field. But it's exactly who you'd expect. The trends I like to look at, Andy, we talk about each week as well, it's important to be playing well over 12 months. You certainly want to see that continuing over the shorter sample sizes, like 6 months and 3 months. A guy like Patrick Cantley, who's been going the wrong way, and really the last couple events he's played in, he's been nowhere in the mix. Worrisome for sure. Of course, that caliber, he can turn on just like that and forget right about it, so you never know, but something to pay attention to. Then you get a guy, like Justin Thomas, who we know his struggles he had last year with not even making it to the playoffs, and then having to do the fall series just to get his top 125 card. But now he's turned it on, right? He's got 4 straight top fives coming in, so you can see that here in the graphic with his numbers. So that's kind of how I look at this. I like to start here. I like to make sure the trends are still going in the right direction and somebody isn't falling off. But a guy like Nikolai Højgaard, another surprise name if you're not paying attention to the DP World Tour, formerly European Tour. That's where you're going to see a lot of these names. That was last week's winner. Højgaard was runner-up, and he's been playing well and has a recent win too. So if you're not paying attention there, some of these guys are sneaking up on you, but they are playing well, and you can find them if you look for strokes gained.
Absolutely. We've got a really nice promo code for everybody. Still active, the promo code GOLF49, GOLF49 gets 30 days all access of golf for only $49. That works for myself or Nick Borman. So great way to get a really, really nice discount on 1 month of golf. We got the Waste Management Phoenix Open next week for Super Bowl weekend. Always an amazing, fun tournament. So if you want to lock that in, it gets you this week's tournament as well as the next 3 tournaments. So use the promo code GOLF49 at checkout. It's 30 days all access for $49. Let's talk about a couple players that I think can trip you up. It's a short field. I normally do 3 players, but we've only got 2 this week. I will start with Justin Rose, who I think people will navigate towards just because he's a defending champ, but he finished 56 last week and 57th the tournament before that, 40th at the Century, and that was a short field. So the last 3 months, he's minus 0.43 tee to green, and his putting has been really, really good, but it really hasn't elevated his finishes as it's not been a good start to the season here. So he won last year, but he was 62nd the year before that. And I just don't really expect a repeat performance from the defending champ. So I think if you're looking at guys to put in fantasy lineups or, who do I want to put in my top 20 bets? And you go, oh, Justin Rose, he won this last year. That seems to be the anomaly, not really the rule for him. So Justin Rose is a player that I think can trip you up. Then I'm going to Scottie Scheffler, who continues to be priced as the number 1 golfer. And I get it, but he's finished 5th and 17th this season, and that's just not good enough when you're the betting favorite. I think it's strange that he's never played here, and we talked about Patrick Cantlay last week, not really playing that course. He finished outside the top 50, so I just think it's a real disadvantage to not know these greens as good as a lot of the other guys. And, his tee to green numbers are, all-time good. They're nothing short of exceptional. But the putting has not been there. And so on a course this week where the fairways are really wide and you've got receptive greens just because of how wet they are, I'm not really sure that his tee to green numbers are going to give him a huge advantage. And it comes down a little bit to putting. And I just don't trust Scottie Scheffler at the price. You're going to have to lay big juice in head-to-head matchups. I would be looking at taking some plus money against him. I certainly wouldn't be taking him in the top 10, especially on the sports books that use the dead heat rule. So I think Scottie Scheffler is going to disappoint some people this week. Who knows? Maybe he gets the putter going in the rain. But, boy, Scottie Scheffler finishing 5th and 17th when he's been the number 1 price player. He's just not returning value. And no way I would put him in DFS with only 80 players. So Justin Rose and Scottie Scheffler are 2 players that I think can trip you up this week. Nick, coming to you. Let's talk an outright winner. Only 80 guys, so that narrows the suspects down a little bit. Who do you like this week?
Well, I already teased him a little bit, and that was Justin Thomas, good old JT. It's been a long time, I'll be honest, since I bet JT in any market, let alone the outright winner. But this just seems like a very good opportunity to jump back on board. We rarely see JT at, well, I'll consider a long price. Even in his darkest days over the last year, he was never much longer than these odds. And now, as I mentioned, he's showing excellent form. He's got 4 straight top 5s coming in. This is just really one of those scenarios, Andy, where I have to bet him for FOMO reasons, right? I just fear I'm missing out on this guy. So the number is too good for me to pass on. If he wins or even contends again, it just seems almost impossible that we're going to see him, anywhere near this price. Usually we're used to seeing him in the teens. So I expect if he continues to play well, those numbers are going to quickly drop. Over his last 4 starts, he has gained strokes on both approach and around the green. in each event, both of which I think are key metrics I'm looking at this week with Pebble's small greens. Remember, these are the smallest greens on tour. It's going to take strong iron play to hit more than field average. And considering everybody will miss at times, it's good to know his short game is in the right place right now. He's also gained strokes putting in 3 of those 4 events. JT's driver is really about the only thing that hasn't been great during his run, but he's coming off his best week of his last 4, gaining plus 0.8 strokes per round last week. So now is the time to go all in, at least for me, on JT. 28-1, I think is a great price on him, and I'm hoping his form will continue one more time at Pebble.
It makes you wonder if some of these guys are going to pull 3-wood a lot more than driver on some
Yeah,
of these shorter holes in the rain. Really, no reason to try and swing for the fences when nobody's going to have a real advantage. So that'll be interesting to watch.
absolutely.
Let's take a look at some Draftkings Darlings. I have an article that is up on my profile page at wagertalk.com where it's got the full lineup, but we like to try and find some of the lesser priced guys to give us some value. And I will start at 7,200 with Kevin Yu. And this is a guy that is really surprised the last few weeks, and so I'm gonna roll with him at 7,200. Finished 6th and 3rd the last 2 weeks, and he finished 7th here last year. So I get a guy that is coming off of 2 really solid performances. I like that he's already had a really good finish out in California. I know the courses aren't that similar, but he's been out there playing good, and I love the 7th place finish last year. So I get a guy at 7,200 with really good form, and he played here last year, so I got to feel like his confidence is riding high. So no cut event, so I don't have to worry about lower price guys missing the cut. I get 4 rounds for everybody, so I'll try and get some upside here with Kevin Yu at 7,200. Up next, Bo Hostler. This is another guy that played good last week. He finished 6th, and he's been really good here. He's finished 11th and 3rd the last 2 years. This is a stunner here, Nick. His putting the last 3 months, plus 1.33. It's some of the best in the field. If he
Wow.
puts even remotely close to that, he's going to have a strong finish. Yeah. So you're getting a guy that is near the top for strokes gained putting, and he knows the course well. He's played good here. He's got a really good history here over a few years. So I'll take Bo Hostler, 7 to 800. And then I was debating between a couple guys, and I settled on JT Poston, and I was glad to see that Nick agrees that the postman, who did not play last week, should be a really nice value this week. He's 7,900 on DraftKings. I'll let Nick go over all of Poston's stats, but I agree completely. So if you want to see the rest of my lineup, that is on the free digital download article on my profile page at wagertalk.com. So, Nick, we're talking about a finishing position in the top 20. It's JT Poston. You and I both love him. So, what are some of the stats that stuck out?
Yeah, I do love Poston. And real quick, anybody that wears a visor quite as good as Bo Hostler, it's worth betting on. So I agree with you there. Listen, apparently my strategy this week is anybody that's named JT going all in. I'm going to go look through that field and find any others that we can give JT the name for this week, and I'm going to bet them. But the other JT this week, Poston, doesn't have good course history this week, but it's really not something I'm factoring in because, as you mentioned, Andy, a lot of these guys have not played this event over the years. It's not been a signature event or a big event, and it's been crowded with the amateurs, so people have avoided it. Obviously, this year is different, so a lot of them are in there. So anyway, I'm 2 finishes, both 66, 68th. It was 5-6 years ago. I'm not too worried about it. Instead, I'm just really looking at his form, which has been fantastic. If you go back all the way to the John Deere Classic in July, he's finished in the top 25 in 10 of his last 12 starts. He took off last week, as you mentioned, at Torrey to get ready for this event, but he played in each of the first 3 events of 2024, finishing tied for 5th, solo 6th, and tied for 11th. So very, very strong finishes this year so far. His weakness is his driver, and really it's because he's not long, nor really super accurate for that matter, but his approach game is strong. He's gaining strokes in 10 of his last 11 starts. His short game is solid. He's gaining strokes in 9 of his last 13 starts. And his putting is just lights out. He's gained strokes in 12 straight starts. He ranks number 2 in this field, strokes gained putting, over the last 6 months. And you always talk about putting when it comes to JT Poston. So I like his approach. I like his putting. I like his form. everything seems to be pointing in the right direction for here. So I'm just going to ride the hot hand with the other JT this week, and you can get him at around plus 160, maybe plus 150 for a top 20 finish, which is, I think, great value this week.
Yeah, it is interesting that he hasn't played this event a lot. You got to wonder. There's a lot of guys that don't play it very often. You got to wonder if they just don't like the pro-am type
Yeah,
style
you
of
know.
it. I mean, this is the one that in years past has been Bill Murray making sand angels in the bunkers. Ray Romano almost hit Jordan Spieth in the head when he scolded one out of the bunker while Spieth had already addressed the ball on a tee. I mean, it's a circus type atmosphere. Not so much this year. So the rain will dampen those spirits, and they've gotten rid of a lot of the quirky type celebrities, and the celebrities are not playing on the weekend. So you get 2 rounds and then they're out of there. So it's a step in the right direction. But yeah, look at this forecast, man. That forecast is gnarly. So Thursday it's gonna
Ugly.
rain. Friday it's gonna rain. Saturday probably, and then Sunday, yeah. And Nick, the other thing is look at that forecast on Monday. They may not want to play on Sunday, but they may not have a choice. Like, what are we gonna do? Postpone it to Monday when it's gonna rain
Yeah, and
even
anywhere better.
more? Yeah, yeah. So the grounds, I feel bad for the groundskeepers this week. They got their work cut out for them, but really, really hoping,
Absolutely.
fingers crossed that that only 80 players playing. Maybe they get them off and running, pretty quick. Maybe that gets them going. So, yeah. So that is going to do it for us here. Just a couple of little betting notes. We talked last week about how Patrick Cantlay hadn't played that course or that tournament very often, and sure enough, he was not very good. He does have pretty decent finishes here. Didn't play last year, but before that, fourth, third, and 11th. Jason Day was terrible last week. He missed the cut, but he plays great here. He's
Hmm.
got 5 top 7 finishes in his last 6 times playing here. And Jordan Spieth, of course, is going to be the
Yeah,
kind of the one that everyone talks about. You think of Pebble Beach, you think of Jordan Spieth. I don't
yeah.
know. Just keep in mind he did finish 63rd the last time he played here. So, he's only played one tournament this year. He finished third at the Century. He looked great. So you can probably go back to him. So Nick, why don't you tell everyone where we can find you at, what you have up for this week, and go over that promo code one more time.
Sure. Yeah. Golf 49 is the promo code. 30 days, all golf for Andy and I. Each week is priced $29. So obviously, for less than the price of just 2 weeks, you're going to get 4 tournaments. Well worth it. And I do this week, Andy, have a 5% first one of the season, 5% golf play. It's a leaderboard bet. Very excited about it, and definitely worth the investment this week. And you can find those over on my page at wagertalk.com. Also have a great deal going on right now. MLS season right around the corner. 5 straight winning years. The 6th year, hopefully, will start here in 3 weeks. And we got a great special early bird price for that right now. Or you can get the combo MLS and all the rest of the PGA Tour season for a really, really good price at $349. So both deals available at my page at WagerTalk.
Love it. If you're enjoying the gambling content, please hit the like button and leave us a comment. Tell us what you like for this week. We always love hearing from you. It's going to do it for us on Tea Time. Good luck on all your plays. Next week is one of the just iconic events of the year. It's pure anarchy. It is the Waste Management Phoenix Open on Super Bowl weekend. Always a lot of fun. So make sure you come back and join us next week. We'll get you ready for all that one. And I don't foresee nearly as much rain out in the desert next week as we do for the tournament this week. So good luck on all your plays. We will see everyone next week on another episode of Tea Time.